Hmm. This entire week, I have spent a majority of it actually crying. I had a very emotional experience the last 5 days. I was actually in the Bahamas. I went down there, as you guys know, for a full clarity reset. And my oh my, did it make my mind clear. With that, I want to talk about crying and how crying actually gets you what you want in a relationship. Whether you are a black cat or you're aspiring to be a black cat, welcome. I am Air. Yes, that is my name. Everyone always asks that. They're like, is that really? Yeah, yeah, that's my name. And I cry. I cry so much, but I'm not ashamed of my tears. Black cats often get this kind of rap that they're only mysterious and that they're independent and that they don't necessarily care. They're kind of this badass creature that just goes its own way all the time. And something that happened to me when I was in the Bahamas going through this very hard, difficult time was a couple of black cats actually arrived. I was driving a golf cart and I literally was like thinking, like, please, like, God, just send me a friend. Like, right now, I need a friend. Like, my emotions were so tense, and I was just barely kind of holding it together at that time. And needless to say, these little black cats appeared because the GPS went out, and I didn't know if we were supposed to turn left or right with the golf cart, so we just kind of stopped and these two black cats come out. I kid you not, it could have been anything else, but they were black cats. And they did exactly what I would do. Like they got really curious about like why are you here? Like this is my space. And they wanted to play and at the same time they were very reserved. They kind of did that push and that pull that is famous for being, the cat energy. And I just was like, okay, well, I'm gonna get out of the cart. Like, and I got out of the cart and I just went, down to basically my knees. And one of the cats came up to me. And at first, again, like when I reached out to touch it, it was like, oh my goodness, like this could be bad. But then it just kind of eased and it actually let me pick it up and really just get a nice hug. And immediately, like tears started swelling in my eyes. And here's the thing, crying in your relationship is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it's actually a really powerful sign of emotional expression and being someone that has a big heart. I feel that some of the things, whenever I talk on the episodes, that people believe that I must be like heartless to want to captivate this black cat energy and share it and help women attract the life that they want and attract their dream partner and improve their relationships. And at the end of the day, I do want that. And there is a little bit of a seductive pull to the black cat energy, and there is a lot of power and influence and reservation in order to make that happen. But black cats have hearts. Like black cats do care. They do purr. They do melt. Just like this black cat was melting in my arms when I needed it the most in that moment. It also was receiving love back and wanted that love and wanted to engage in that relationship with me. And that gets missed often because if you get pulled up into the power dynamics of love and relationships and business, you kind of lose the fact that like people care. Like people have hearts. And you can be an avoidant personality or an anxious personality and still have an immense amount of passion and emotion in you. So when I was thinking about crying and like, does it help your relationship? Does it hurt your relationship? Is it appropriate? Like, I am someone that just knows that I feel everything. Like, I feel nature, I feel animals, I feel people's emotions, I feel my own emotions like immensely, and I can't turn that off. Like it's part of me. Even if you would classify me on the black cat scale as being more like seductive or more mysterious or reserved or lacking a lot of alone time, I feel everything. And crying is an expression of my feelings. So, with that, crying is powerful. And you can use it obviously as a manipulative tactic to get what you want. And people that clicked on this probably think that that's really what I'm going to talk about here. And I'll go into like a touch of that. But at the end of the day, crying actually heals relationships more than anything, more than power dynamics, more than, you know, the push and the pull of who's the authority figure, who cares less, who cares more, which is what people get so tied up in of like, I want to look like I care less. Like being a black cat doesn't mean you care less. It doesn't mean that you even look like you care less. Like absolutely not. And if that's your mindset, you're going to lose every single time when it comes to trying to be in love and trying to be in a healthy relationship. What crying really does is it basically says, I'm willing to be vulnerable. I'm willing to be the strong one here and show how much I care. And that could make me look weak because based off of today's society, they're like, if you cry, you must be weak, especially for men. And I feel bad for men in this area. But men get this rap that they're supposed to be stoic and, you know, expressionless. And I think that's like the weakest thing that a man can do. Like, so many men are convinced that when they cry, that women are going to lose respect for them. And I could not be the furthest from that. When a man actually cries in front of me, I literally take the respect level I have for him and I increase it by 2 deviations. Because I'm like, this man is so strong and so convicted in how he feels that he's willing to be completely vulnerable and let me see him for who he is. And that is brave. Like for men, that is absolutely so brave. And I get so just stirred up in the emotions of like men being stoic because I'm like, do you actually care? Like, let's say it's a breakup. Like, do you actually care what's going on? If you're not willing to shed a tear, if you're not willing to show emotion on your face, like, all that tells me is that you were checked out a long time ago and that you shouldn't have been here. You should have, you know, been dating someone else or, you know, figuring out your own insecurities about who you are as a person. But crying in a relationship is a powerful tool. And if you are someone that isn't even wanting to be in a relationship and you're like, okay, I want to use crying as a mechanism to like get what I want, right? Like you're showing people that you care. And that alone can be leverage. Now, I'm not saying like have a full on panic of like a hysterical cry. Like, if that happens, like, okay, like clearly you care, but like, let's get into the root of the matter of like, why is this affecting you so much? And if it's something like you lost somebody or it's a breakup, like, I fully understand. I've definitely been there. But ultimately, shedding a tear can also be powerful whenever you're watching a movie and you're like, I am so involved in this that I understand the connection. And that's what tears are. Tears are connection. I've been watching movies lately and I'll tear up about events that I personally have never gone through, but like I can get so involved of how that influences the character or how that influences the whole story. And I'm like, I get it. And that is a powerful source of energy that you can cultivate and bring into your relationships. Human connection is so fucking important. And I will be somebody that will tell you, like, I struggle with isolation at times. And it's because I feel so much. And it's because this enormous amount of me just wants to continue to help people and let them be just mentally liberated from the cages that they build in their minds. Like, honestly is probably my dharma or my life mission to help people feel more free. And most of the is really just working with people's mindset and working with the way that people think and how they behave and how they act. That's why I went into psychotherapy. That's why I have the podcast. That's why I love just working with people one to one or, speaking on stages about this is that's my path. Like at the end of the day, whether it's your mind, it's your body, it's your sexuality, it's your emotions, I just want people to feel free. I want people to be liberated from everything that they think they can't be, that they're not capable of. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard the line that I'm not capable of love, or I'm not deserving, or I can't be in a relationship because of my ex, or because of the way I was raised as a child. Like, fuck that. And even further, they're like, okay, maybe it's business. And they're like, well, I don't know. I've never opened up a business before, or I've never went that direction, or I've never taken a risk on myself. And that could, really be devastating. Like, okay, well, fuck that too. And if something's making you cry to the point where you're giving up on yourself or you're giving up on a relationship, it is time to use this powerful force and to express yourself, to liberate yourself, and move forward in either your own personal journey or your relationship. So many relationships, I think, died because somebody wasn't willing to shed a tear. Somebody wasn't willing to be like, I'm going to look, quote unquote, weak in order to get through this moment. And I feel bad. Like, I honestly pray for those relationships because I would rather 100% go out crying, letting that person know that I was real, that I was authentic and genuine in that, than to bounce and be like, I didn't care at all. I'm fine. Like, that's not Black Cat either, right? Like, the cat still purrs, the cat still cares. And whether you're a dog person or a cat person, it doesn't mean that they don't have heart. Nature has heart. Animals have hearts. And I'm holding this little flower today. And it's like my personal sign of just love and beauty for myself. Because at the end of the day, I have been crying a lot lately. I've been processing something that I may never understand. And it's not my responsibility necessarily to go and figure it all out and, life's plan. But at the end of the day, I knew it was going to be important that this episode, crying to get what you want in a relationship, is actually telling you, like, yes, cry. Like, even if you're like power dynamics, like, okay, cry to get what you want. Like, cry to show you care. Like, cry authentic tears. And people will know if it's like crocodile tears. Like, that's not necessarily what this episode's about. And I know for a fact people clicking on this are like, she's going to tell you how to manipulate with your tears. Like, of course you can do that. You're a fucking goddess. You can do whatever you want with your power. But at the end of the day, like, that's not actually serving you. And we're not here just to get what we want and to have a luxurious life and X, Y, Z. And we're definitely not here to exploit people. Like, you're not in the right space if you're like, I'm going to learn how to exploit people with her. Like, sure, use all my knowledge, use my tools, use it for however you please. I can't control you. But I will also tell you, like, I'm giving you all of these power dynamics, not to go hurt people. And if you do, karma is real. Like, you're a black cat, remember? Like, you know that there's the karmic cycle of the cat. Like, this powerful force is there. I try to present all of these topics, whether it's obsession or addiction or power, to really bring forth the fact that you could do so much good. You and me can create this world that unleashes people's mindsets. And that really starts with not being afraid to be authentic, to be genuine, and to show up in your most confident, self-assured way. And sometimes that means you're going to cry. So, as a loving little testament to my black kitties, like, thank you, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna be fine, and everything's gonna work out, and love will always be available. Like, we are in such an abundant world, but there's one thing that is enormously important in relationships, and it's being willing to cry, okay? Until tomorrow, my loves.